Alright, for this, like I said, for this particular car, you're going to have an internal bearing, which is right here. And here's your back plate for it. Now, I'm just going to set these down on a clean towel. And we'll clean them up later. Now, you go to the top and take your multi-tool, take out the glow plug. As you can see, this glow plug is pretty much burnt. Just going to replace it while I'm rebuilding the motor. Now you take off the head of your motor. Most of the time, these bolts are really jammed on there, tightened, because you can't put Loctite on these bolts right here, because it gets extremely hot. It will burn up the Loctite. So I just take a pair of pliers and I just twist on the top of the Allen wrench to get enough torque just to loosen them up. Now that you got the bolts off, please note the orientation of the head. So the notches right here line up with the bolts down here, because otherwise you can't tighten or loosen those. Set the head aside, clean up around the glow plug hole. Then you take off the head of your motor, or I don't really know what this is, but underneath it is going to be a copper shim. Do not lose this copper shim, otherwise your motor will not run good without it. Just clean up the top. If you see any scorch marks, just try and get them off just with the towel. Clean up around the edges of your motor before you proceed with the next task. The next task is getting out your piston sleeve, which is right here. Usually helps turn it upside down and cycle the motor a couple times. Gets it loose. Then you just pull it out. Sometimes it likes to be difficult, but see, there we go. Take your motor or your piston sleeve, clean it up, set it aside. Now we move on to the piston. As you can see, I haven't cleaned my motor in a while. The piston's kind of dirty and gritty inside there. Clean up around the rim like so. Try and keep all foreign contaminants out of the motor. Now to remove the piston. On my particular motor, it has a notch down at the bottom where you cannot remove it from down there. If you have the Madstorm stock motor, some of them don't have that notch. But for mine, you have to move it to top dead center. And do not use any tools for this. If you scar up any of these parts inside your motor will not run good. So, you just get top dead center and pull it off your crankshaft. The piston falls right out, right here. Note the condition of your piston. If it's burnt, look for any dirt inside your piston sleeve where like right here. note that there's no dirt inside the oiling hole for your piston, or for your piston rod. Okay, now we remove the crankshaft, which is pretty easy. You just push out on the shaft out here, and crankshaft is out. This is that's all you have to do. Now just clean up the inside, make sure there's no dirt. You could use compressed air if you want. Do not put this in carburetor cleaner because you still have two bearings back here, and as the front one you see has a seal on it. Carburetor cleaner or any solvents will deteriorate that seal right there. The only way to get these bearings out is by having a bearing press, because all these parts right here are press fitted into place, so it's difficult to remove them. So just clean up your motor, and you can watch my video on reassembly. Reassembly is very important. There's certain ways where you have to put in the piston. You have to note which way your piston comes out of your motor and which way this is at, because otherwise your piston will crack. Like if you have it the wrong way, the piston comes down on its downstroke and cracks on the crankshaft or your back plate. So watch the reassembly video, otherwise you might destroy your motor. And that's it for this disassembly video. Just clean up your parts and watch my reassembly video.